Today we're at Backyard Bike Shop building my new cross-country mountain bike, the Scott Spark RC Supersonic Edition.
Hey, look at that.
Hidden shock.
Tony's got one of these.
Yeah, but mine's better than Tony's. Supersonic. That means it's faster.
Yeah, but if you're
That's what
riding,
Supersonic means.
If you're riding with Tony, you need every bit of advantage you can get.
That is true.
Do you know how long it's been since I filmed a mountain bike build? Or, no, since I built a mountain bike actually.
Can you remember how to build mountain bikes?
Not really. Like, and loads of stuff's changed since I built one, so it's a bit of a... I've not even serviced one in 2 years.
It's going to be a long night, Nick.
Long.
Luckily, the parts that we're putting on here are parts that I bought the other day, which are SRAM Axis Eagle. It's the mountain bike stuff, it's all gold, and it's also wireless, so basically all Nick has to do is kind of tighten it on and it just works, right?
That's the beauty of Axis, well, the AXS we will call it, it's Axis, meaning everything works together. The mullet group sets where you run road levers, road brakes, road chain set, but then you run the mountain bike rear mech, mountain bike chain and cassette. The only thing that's specific to the different ones is if you could go mountain bike mech, you have to have a mountain bike cassette and a mountain bike chain. If you're on a road rear mech, it has to be a road chain and a road cassette, which is the flat top.
The weird flat top,
Yes.
yeah.
Other than that, everything works together. Your wireless dropper post will be fitting tomorrow, after the last video.
He's upsold me a dropper. So this is a temporary seat post that's going in, which will be used for a future build, which I'm buying today.
Very expensive.
It's a really, well, yeah, it's still 50 quid. It will make for a very light other build, which will be coming up maybe in a few weeks or months time.
50 quid.
But temporarily, because I want to ride this tomorrow, maybe with Tony we'll hit the trails. I just wanted a seat post in there while we get this dropper sorted, which is a slightly different size to the one we've got here, so you have to put a shim.
Interesting fact, I don't actually know if this is still true, but I think you can have the steers replaced in these forks. So if you ever need a longer one, you can just buy it. I might be wrong.
Everyone goes, cuts their forks really short.
I've been for a long time. Star nut setup. Now we have to find a star nut.
What this is a star-fangled nut. So when you don't have a carbon steerer, you basically have to bang one of these inside the fork, so you've got something for the headset screw to thread into.
Back in the day, you used to have a tool that you just thread in, it's like a punch, and then you hit the punch to get it in.
Yeah.
You have to kind of make sure it's straight.
That's what I used to
And
use.
you have to get the right depth.
But if you have this,
One, place it on top. Sound changes. Perfect depth, perfectly straight. Magic / witchcraft.
sealed up. So there is a rear shock inside this frame, which is quite cool because your suspension doesn't get covered in shit, but also looks really neat. It's 120 millimeters of travel front and rear, so it's 2 centimeters more than what I've been riding on the previous bikes. The geometry is also significantly more slack than on the other bikes that I used to ride. This is Scott's sort of attempt at really pushing the boundaries of cross country as it's become more aggressive and more technical as time has gone on. You've got enough cable there,
So
just fix it here.
we'll add it in.
Yeah, it looks good.
That little slot you've got at the bottom of the bike, I'll just open it up and stuff it all in there. Hey, you've got plastic wheels as well. We've noticed lately that carbon gravel wheels actually hold up loads better than alloy. You saw Graham earlier.
Yeah.
His wheel had like 17 dents in it, where we've got nobody destroying any of the carbon wheels yet. So it must be slightly more impact resistant. The NVs we sell have got a warranty saying like the actual lip is 4.5 more thick, and they say that if you were to somehow break it, they'll just replace them. Granite, juicy nipples. Do you want speed or do you want grip? Mountain bike tires scare me.
So to get the chain line right on this bike, we're actually using an absolute black 0 offset chainring. You can get a crank to achieve the same thing, but there's stock issues currently in the cycling world, as people know. So we're going to fit this on, and hopefully it will work. Guns don't kill people. Rappers do.
I've got some interesting pedal stuff to tell you when we fit your pedals. Mountain bike pedals are quite good for clearing mud. and you can clip on both sides. When you try and ride, obviously you don't have to look down. It makes it a lot easier. But people start riding road pedals, and the big thing is road pedals offer more stability, and that's got to do with platform engagement with your shoe. The average Shimano pedal, the PDM 520s and 540s have roughly 122 square millimeters of engagement. The XT pedals actually goes up quite a bit. They go up to 250, I think. And then the XTR drops back down to 188. So very light pedals, good pedals, they last quite long, but they're not as stable. Lux pedals, basic pedal, starts at 350 square millimeters of engagement, because they've realized that sideways doesn't really matter for mud clearance or forward, so they've just made the pedal a lot more stable. Obviously the more expensive ones that I'm riding is 515. So that's more stable than quite a lot of road pedals out there. So you don't lose the stability factor, but you still have the mud clearance and everything. So arguably, if you had a stiff mountain bike shoe, that should ride even better than the road pedal. James will be able to probably comment on this better, but surely that must have a positive effect as well on knee pain and things like that. Most of the time, if you make straight, they tend to just shut perfectly out of the box. But the easiest thing I found is if you put in one of the higher cogs, actually visually look from behind while you trim it, you can kind of see if it's the gap between the chain and the next cog up and the cog down is evenly spaced. It's probably the best indicator, and then see if it shoves smoothly through the gears, and you can adjust if it needs to be. But yeah, it's fairly straightforward. It's much easier than cables, because you don't have to worry about, with cables you have to worry about whether there's drag, is the routing gone properly, is it going to stretch, how's it going through the frame, what's happening with the ferrules. If your ferrules are quite tight after a while, they might actually bed in and then your gears go out again. Where with this, when it's set, if your gears go out, something's wrong.
It's a bent hanger or
mech
something.
Hanger's bent. Actually, well, these obviously, like you've seen one of the previous videos, you can kick them and they'll just disengage.
Just like on Tony's bike video, there's a thing on the end of the through axle, which is the lever for actually doing it up, but also has a tiny little Torx on the end of it, which you can use to adjust your seat post and your handlebars and your stem if you have a separate stem, which in my case it's just a one-piece thing. What?
Near enough every bolt in this bike is Torx, which is, well,
it's great.
Yeah, almost everything you have to adjust. I could have built the bike with just that tool. I don't know why we bother with all of this nonsense.
Moment of truth.
10.46 kilos for full size. Massive tyres and about 4 litres of sealant in it.
So we're in business. The bike is finished. It's now the next day. And here's a full rundown of my new Scott Spark RC with some pretty cool stuff on it. As I said, the frame is a Scott Spark RC, size medium. This is a Supersonic paint job, so limited edition, and one they did for the Olympics. This is a cross-country bike, but has 120 mil of travel, front and rear, which is slightly more than a normal cross-country bike would have. Geometry is a little bit different to your usual cross-country bike as well. You have a slightly longer top tube, slacker geometry, which means it should be better at going downhill. I'll be testing this in tomorrow's episode. The frame comes with synchronous bar and stem, which is all nice and internally rooted. The Garmin mount on the top, which is a good place to put your Garmin, because if it's sticking out the front and you crash on a mountain bike, there's every chance that you might snap it off. So this is where most XC racers will put their head units. Synchronous grips, these feel really nice. Temporary seat post is a USE Ultimate, which is carbon and very light, with a Celasan Marco short nose saddle to go with it, which I borrowed from Nick. On the back of the saddle, I'm running a pretty cool little saddle bag, which fits on with magnets and is made by Fidlock, same company that make my bottles, which are also fitted on with magnets. And they're quite popular with enduro riders and other mountain bikers because they just don't fall off when you're riding. We've got Fox factory 34s on the front. These are 120 mil of travel, as I said, connected up to an interesting lockout system, which Scott called twin lock. These levers actually have 3 positions. You've got completely unlocked, so if you're riding down a trail, you have halfway, which means if you're riding on probably something like this, and you want your suspension to be kind of half on, not quite as squashy, but you still want to be able to get the power down, and then you've got fully locked out if you click it once more. Nice to have the options. I've yet to find out what it will be like riding this, but I'll give you a bit of a longer term review over the next few weeks and see how often I use that middle position, because that's the new thing compared to my old bike. The same thing that's attached to your handlebars, you actually have a third lever, which I've taped out the way, but you can fit a dropper post there. So it's quite an all-in-one solution to all of the little things that you have to have on your handlebars. Group set is SRAM Eagle axis. So this is a wireless mech with a 1050 cassette, 1x34 on the front, and this 34 ring is actually from Absolute Black. Syncros Silverton carbon wheels. These are one down from the super top end one-piece carbon wheel that Scott make, or Syncros make. Set up tubeless with my Hutchinson Krakens, which are the cross-country tyre that I rode all year last year. Work really well for most conditions and very easy to set up tubeless because Hutchinson invented tubeless. So if you want tyres that go on easily, Hutchinson's. To finish things off and to keep things matching, we've got SRAM rotors, calipers and brakes as well. Got 180 on the front, which did need an adapter to fit on this frame, which despite the adapter still looks very neat, and then a 160 on the back. So loads of stopping power. That is a bigger rotor than I had on my old bike. Oh, and then Shimano pedals, which don't match the SRAM at all. I hope you enjoyed the build and a quick first look at this bike. Let us know if you have any questions in the comment section down below. Massive thanks to Scott for supplying the frame, and I hope I can do it some justice on the trails this year. If you enjoyed this video, it may be worth you checking out my Nice Bikes playlist on this channel, where I've got loads of different bike checks from different people talking through their builds and some nice shots of the bikes as well. Stay tuned for more. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.